2012 was a pretty phenomenally busy year for you, wasn't it, sir? Like,
it was a year I've kind of been waiting for since I was about 16, I suppose. Been trying for a long time to kind of get anywhere.
Sure.
And 2012 just kind of seemed to be the year where something happened. I don't know what. Maybe people connected with my music more. Maybe I started making better music or whatever. And it just suddenly, at the start, got really busy and got to play loads of cool parties and festivals, and just kind of started to actually make some moves that I've been wanting to do for a long time, I suppose.
So you say, you know, it was taking you quite a while to kind of break into everything. You know, how much of a struggle has it been for you? How did you sort of make the transition?
In terms of getting people to really notice you, it takes a while. I mean,
sure.
When I was 17, I was releasing UK Garage, and I did okay at that. Played out a few times, blah, 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 but it was kind of when Garage was dying, basically.
Sure.
And carried on making it probably longer than I should have, maybe because I was still into it and still getting a bit out of it, but also because, you know, I wasn't as confident as I could have been in the house music that I was making. And, you know, then I started making music with my friend Ethel, and it kind of clicked a little bit more. We obviously put our first thing out on Cecile, which helped us a lot, but I kind of thought, oh, well, this is going to be the big thing that breaks through. I'm going to be playing every weekend.
Sure.
Didn't really happen like that. It took a lot longer to kind of almost find my own sound again, because at that point I don't think I was necessarily making stuff that, not that I didn't like, but just it didn't quite have my own slant on it. And I think the real struggle was kind of finding my own place in the scene,
sure.
Such full of amazing DJs and producers, and sort of getting people to listen to it.
Is there always a bit of a risk of kind of, you know, in this day and age where we're kind of, you know, bombarded with different sounds and different styles of music and even like micro genres and stuff, do you feel like perhaps, you know, it was quite easy to kind of get lost?
Definitely, I think,
you know,
so. I think so many people try to make music that sounds like their idols, and I was definitely guilty of this. But why do people want to necessarily buy the same music that they've been buying for years from someone else, which is probably better than the stuff that you're making?
Sure.
Because if anything, it's a lot more authentic, because these
Yeah.
people are making it because this is the music that comes out when they make it. So I think that finding your own sound can be a struggle, and it sounds a little bit sort of wanky or whatever, but it's definitely worth taking the time to start making music that you like.
Yeah.
Because you can hear it in the productions that people put out.
That's it.
You can definitely hear stuff well I put out a few years ago that don't have as much attention or sort of haven't got the details in that the stuff I might be making now has.
Sure. It always seems like a bit of a sort of cheesy thing to say, but, you know, you'd say that you're making music more for yourself rather than the clubber. And
I think so. I mean, you've obviously got to have the clubber in mind. You can, if that's the kind of music you want to make, I suppose.
Sure, yeah.
So if I was making more sort of ambient or abstract stuff, then obviously I would think of the audience it was going to.
Sure.
And I still want it to connect with them. But yeah, you want to make sure that first and foremost you're happy with the output that you're making.
I mean, for me, I always love your EPs and receiving your music, because it always seems like either a progression from the last EP, or it just has a real sort of fresh and unique tone to it. It's not like you're repeating the same thing over and over again.
Definitely. Well, the one thing I have to say is I've always found it hard to sit down and make the same track twice. I think that I've got a sound to what I make from what people tell me. I'd never really thought about it, but I can't just sit down and make the same track over and again, because it would bore me to tears, basically. So I much prefer sort of making other genres or incorporating other ideas, and sort of just taking everything, as you say, fresh for each EP, and kind of thinking about what I want to get out of this release. For example, I've got a release coming out on Rinse, and then one coming out on Hypercolour, and although they're essentially both house music or garage, they are very different.
So you talk about this kind of, you know, eclectic nature and kind of experimenting with your sound, but always keeping it, you know, stamped with your own sort of special tones or whatever. So talk to us a little bit about the Out the Box EP that you...
Well, I think that was quite a big EP for me, really. It came just straight after Let It Go. And the track Bot's Clever, I think, I mean, it was a track that I still personally quite like, whereas I don't actually like a lot of the stuff I do. Not that I don't like it, just that I think my confidence in anything that I do is, I can listen to what's gone into it and I can hear the faults in it because I've made it.
Yeah.
I've been there through every aspect of it, so I still listen to tracks now and think, oh, I should have changed that or whatever.
Yeah.
And you never, I don't think, ever 100% happy with what you've made. And I think once you kind of are, you start to lose a little bit of grip with what you're putting out, because if you're happy with everything that you make, then you're going to start putting out crap, basically, because the pressure will have felt like it's been lifted off your shoulder. It's so much better to sort of want to push yourself forward and learn new techniques and be critical about your own music. I think it's healthy to kind of do that.
So are you spending any time producing for other people at the moment?
Yeah, I've just started doing a bit of more sort of poppier stuff, I guess, but not really pop music, for a girl called Siren, who just did a track with Ten Snake. And I've just worked with her on a couple of bits for her album.
Fantastic.
And do a couple of bits, a few other bits, and then just working on I've actually been working with loads of friends recently, or got loads of friends sort of about to be working with, which I think is going to be really interesting, because I love working with other people because it gives you their thoughts on it. It gives you a different take. It shows you different production techniques. It's more of a collaborative project. It can get a little bit stale and lonely when you're just sitting at home in your pants, just trying to make music, essentially, just day after day, watching too much Jeremy Kyle or whatever. It's great to be working with someone and have the interaction. Sure.
Are you quite easy to collaborate with and work
I like
with?
to think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd ask everyone that that's true, but I think so. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. So another question that I'd like to ask is, there's been rumours and tip-offs about your forthcoming album.
Yeah, it's definitely in the works at the moment.
Sure.
Started a few ideas that I'm pretty happy with, and hopefully it'll be out before the end of the year. What date exactly, I don't know, but it's one of these things where I'd rather take a little bit longer making it and push the release date back than have a set date and have to work within the confines of that and rush out something that I don't like. So an album for me is so much bigger than an EP, because an EP can come and go. Yeah. People might hate it, but then you can move quickly onto it, whereas an album is such a body of work that people are always going to look back to it. It's a lot more timeless.
So you're still a firm believer in the album format, as it were?
If you're just going to make an album of straight dancefloor tracks, I think there's no point. Just put it out as 3 different EPs. If you're going to make an album, like you say, from start to finish, then that's what it's all about. If you listen to someone like Jimmy Edgar, his album, it was just an amazing album, and they had tracks on it that was so obviously you would never play out, but to listen to was amazing, and I think that's the whole point of an album.
So are we going to see you kind of moving out of the house music template completely?
No, definitely not. I'm not just going to leave it behind because I don't want to, basically. But there will be other sides of my production that I've always done but just never really released before, so I've not had a platform to do it.
Excellent.
That's definitely something that I'd want to do on this project.
Fantastic. Speaking of platforms, Saints and Sonnets, your label.
Good link.
Yeah. How's that going?
We have loads of releases planned, and it's going to become a lot more of a sort of consistent entity, I suppose, and we've already got a few parties going to happen and stuff, so should be an exciting year for it, man. Nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Any further tips on any of that, or are you?
The next one is a girl called Annie Arez with an amazing Mr. G remix, and that's going to come out at the end of February, I think. And we've just got loads of good stuff, a mixture of old and new people. So
nice.
Just looking forward to kind of how it goes, really.
Thank you very much for taking some time out of your no doubt busy schedule to come and chew the fat with us. Really looking forward to seeing what 2013 brings for you, and we're fully behind you and look forward to seeing what's coming up.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me.
No worries, no bother.
At Point Blank Online, you've got two methods of interaction with your tutor. Firstly, you've got the weekly online masterclass, which is in real time. And then also we've got feedback on your assignments, and that's known as DVR. So the online masterclass is a 1-hour session you get with your tutor every week. You can ask questions about the lesson content and get instant feedback, and also demonstrations on the fly from their computer desktop with our streaming technology. DVR stands for Direct Video Response, and the concept is really simple. You upload your Ableton Logic or Cubase project file to your tutor, he downloads it and then pushes record on the screen capturing software and evaluates your work, so basically giving you one-to-one feedback. You see all of the mouse movements and any parameter changes made by your tutor. It's kind of like sitting in the studio over their shoulder watching what they're doing whilst they work. We have found the DVR process has truly revolutionized the way that we teach online, and the results speak for themselves. Book your place on the course now by visiting pointblankonline.net.